Hey friends, welcome back to Civil Engineering Mastery. Today let's discuss all types of foundation and their applications. We all have studied about foundation, which is one of the major part of the building. A foundation should be designed to safely transmit the load onto a sufficient area of soil so that the stresses induced in soil are within the safe limit. For example, can you see here this building load? All the load of the building will come to the foundation. So we have to be design the foundation very carefully in order to transfer the superstructure load to the soil. If a soil is overstressed, it may lead to a shear failure resulting in the sliding of soil and thus result in the collapse of the structure. So the foundation should be designed in such a way that there is no possibility of tilting of the structure. We can divide the building into two parts. One is substructure, which is the lower part of the building, and another one is the superstructure, which is the upper part of the building. You can see here this ground level. Below ground level is called substructure. Above ground level is called superstructure. So what happens in the foundation? All the loads coming from the superstructure that will come to the foundation, and that foundation has to transfer the load to the soil. So this is the major concept of transferring load from superstructure to the substructure. Always we get confused with the two terms. One is foundation and footing. Foundation transfer the entire load of the building into the soil, whereas the footing is the type of foundation which has to transfer the load of a particular member, whether it would be a column or wall. Here you can see this is the footing, and the overall footing layout is called foundation. There are two types of foundation. One is shallow foundation and another one is deep foundation. If the depth of foundation is equal to or less than its width, then that foundation is called shallow foundation. Similarly, if the depth of foundation is more than the width, then it is called deep foundation. Shallow foundation is used for normal buildings and light buildings. So whenever we have the adequate bearing capacity at reasonable depth, then we can go for a shallow foundation. Deep foundation is used if the shape bearing capacity of soil is less and heavy load structures like bridges, towers, tunnels, etc. Or if the soil is too weak, then we have to go for deep foundation. So first let's look into shallow foundation and their types. In shallow foundation we have four major types. First one is isolated footing, strip footing or continuous footing, and combined footing, and the last one is raft or mat footing. So in isolated footing we have many types like pad footing or simple footing, sloped footing, step. So let's discuss one by one. Next, in deep foundation we have two types. One is pile foundation and the second one is caissons foundation. Caisson foundation is also called well foundation. So let's discuss one by one. First, let's see the strip footing or continuous footing. It is mainly used in load bearing structures. It supports masonry wall or RCC wall. Strip footing behave as a cantilever on each side of the wall and spread the wall load over the large area of soil. So if the SBC of soil is more, then the width of footing will be less. You can see this is the width of footing. If the SBC of soil is more, then we get the width of footing very less. The width of footing is twice the width of the wall. In some cases it is even wider. So this is all about the strip footing. It is mainly used in load bearing structures. Let's see isolated footing. Depending on the shape of the column, the isolated footings may be square, rectangular or circular in shape. These footings are economical for small buildings and SBC of soil is high. So we have three types of isolated footing. One is pad footing, next one is sloped footing, and the third one is stepped footing. Here I wanted to tell you few important things. Here you may notice that the column is placed in the center of the exact center of the footing. That one we call it as a center of gravity. So each member has the center of gravity. So the center of gravity of footing and the center of gravity of column should always match. Then only the load will transfer to the footing properly. Otherwise it will become eccentric. You may have heard about that eccentric footing. So if the center of gravity of column is not matched with the center of gravity of footing, then that will become eccentric. Due to that eccentricity, additional moments will develop. So here, if the center of gravity of loads in the structure does not coincide with the center of gravity of foundation area, the consequent bearing will not be uniform. That's what I told you. So always it is better to design the foundation area such that the CG means center of gravity, CG of loads will coincide with the CG of foundation area, so that the soil reaction will be of uniform intensity, so that the proper load transfer will happen to the soil. So these are the major important thing we need to be take care of while designing the footings. Let me show you that isolated footing in AutoCAD drawing. So here we have a simple footing or pad footing. So this is the plan. So we have a column, and here this yellow line indicates the footing plan, footing size like length and breadth you can see here, and this white line indicates the PCC. So below footing we provide PCC, right? So that is this one. So if you see the section you can understand. So this is the PCC. Below footing there is a PCC 3 inch to 4 inch according to the design we have to provide. So this is the footing depth. So here it is mentioned overall depth of footing, and this is the column. So reinforcement is provided in longer direction as well as in shorter direction. So here you can see NGL is marked. NGL means natural ground level. So from natural ground level to bottom of the foundation is called the depth of foundation. So here we have the depth of foundation as 5. So this is all about the simple or pad footing. Next, let's see the sloped footing. So this is the sloped footing. Here you can see the slope. So this is the bottom base of the footing. From base it is sloped. 45-degree slope is maintained in all sides. So to reduce the concrete quantity, we can go for this kind of sloped footing. It is also called as trapezoidal footing. In footing we have 3 important factors. One is punching shear or two-way shear, one-way shear and bending moment. So two-way shear is the major important factor while considering the depth of the footing. So here from the face of the column at a distance of d/2, that is the critical section for two-way shear. So at that distance only we have to check the depth. So at that distance from the face of the column we have to provide the full depth. From the face of the column at a distance of d/2 is the critical section for punching shear. So at that distance only we need to provide the full depth, and then we can reduce the depth to minimum. Minimum is given in the IS code. So as per that we can reduce the depth at the edge of the footing. If you want to know more details about punching shear, one-way shear and bending moment in footings, I have already uploaded few videos regarding that. I will also give you the link in the description box. If you want, you can check it. Sloped or trapezoidal footing can be used because only we are providing more depth from the face of the column at some distance. After that we are reducing the depth so that concrete quantity will get reduced. See the same sloped footing in this AutoCAD drawing. You can see this is the plan. So column, after column there is a pedestal. As I told you before, from the face of the column we have to keep a distance of d/2. So that is the criteria for punching shear or two-way shear. Around the column we need to provide the overall depth which is required to satisfy the punching shear criteria. So after that we can reduce the footing depth to minimum how much we required, that we can provide as per IS code. In section you can see similar to isolated pad footing, PCC will be there, and above that the footing, and this is the minimum depth we have to keep, and this is the overall depth. If you see from the face of the column at a distance of d/2, so here the depth will be more. Next, let's look into the stepped footing, which is also similar to sloped footing, but here there will not be any slope. Instead of that we'll be having steps here. The bottom is PCC, and then after that we have one step of footing, and after that again we have one step of footing, and we have a column. So this kind of footing is not used nowadays. In olden days we have used this kind of footings. Now it is outdated. So here you can see the plan of the footing. So one pedestal is there. Pedestal is that step what you have seen in the 3D. So here in section if you see you can understand. So this is the first step of footing, and this is the second step of footing, and then comes the column. Next, let's look into the combined footing. A footing that supports 2 or more columns are called combined footing. So till now we have discussed about isolated footing, which is supported only one column. Here the footing supports 2 or more columns. that is called combined footing. So this may be rectangular or trapezoidal in plan. It is provided when columns are close to each other and their individual footings overlap. So we have seen that isolated footings, right? So that isolated footings we have provided for only one column, and the isolated footings have overlapped each other. And also when the SBC of soil is low and it requires more area under individual footing, in that case also we need to provide the combined footing. Say the AutoCAD drawing for combined footing. So this is the plan, combined footing plan. So it has two columns. So reinforcement are provided here, bottom mat and top mat. So if you see the section, PCC is provided here, and then this is the bottom reinforcement and this is the top reinforcement, and this is the footing depth, combined footing depth. These two are columns. So this is how the combined footing structural drawing looks like. Next, let's look into the trapezoidal combined footing. So this kind of combined footings are used when one column is near the property line. So in that case we have to go for this geometry, that is trapezoidal shape of combined footing. Next, let's look into the strap footing. This is one of the special type of footing. So this type of footing is provided when the distance between the column is large. It may be economical to connect the two isolated footing by strap beam. So you can see here, this is the strap beam which is connecting two isolated footing. So when the distance between two columns is large, we can provide one strap beam by connecting these two isolated footing. That is one case. And in another case, it is provided when an exterior column is close to the boundary or property line and hence there is no place to project footing beyond the column face. In that case, we have to provide the strap beam by connecting two isolated footings. Let's look into the strap footing AutoCAD drawing. So this is how the plan looks like. You can see here this column is eccentric because, as I told you in the beginning, this column is not in the center of the footing. So the CG of the load will not coincide with the CG of the footing. Okay, so this will create extra moment. To resist that extra moment, we have to provide the strap beam like this by connecting this isolated footing. Mostly we get this kind of footings in place where the column is provided on the boundary line. For example, if imagine this line is a boundary, so then column is provided on the boundary, so footing cannot go beyond this boundary line. So that is why we need to provide footing like this, and then we have to connect the strap beam like this, and then we have to design. So this is the base footing. You can see footing projection, and then this is the beam size. Beam size will be more above the base of the footing. Next, let's see the mat foundation or raft foundation. Mat or raft foundation transfers the load from all the columns in the building to the soil. It is used in soil of low bearing capacity or where areas of individual footings overlap. It is also used to reduce differential settlements when the load in the adjacent column vary considerably or when there are variable soils within the same building. So this mat or raft foundation is used where we have the SBC of soil is very low, and in some places we will be having the columns in a closer space. So in that place 5-6 columns together we can make it as a single footing. So that is called mat or raft foundation. In some cases where the soil is very weak, safe bearing capacity is also very low. So in that case the whole building foundation can be made it as a single mat or raft footing. So in that cases alone we have to go for this kind of raft footing. Now let's see the AutoCAD drawing for raft foundation. We can call it as a mat foundation as well. See here in this foundation, in this footing there are 6 columns. So all together we can make it as a single footing, raft footing or mat footing. So here also we have to provide the reinforcement in bottom as well as in top, just like combined footing reinforcement. You can see the section. We have 2 sections, section C and section D, in this direction as well as in this direction. So this is section C. As usual, PCC is at the bottom of footing, and then reinforcement is provided. Bottom mat, we can say bottom mat, and then this is the top mat. These two are columns. So if you see the section C, you can see these 2 columns, right? So this is the depth of the footing. 3 feet is the depth of the footing. And let's look into section D. Section D, we can see these 3 columns. So sections D also similar to like section C. Bottom mat and top mat is provided. These three columns can be seen, and depth of footing is same as the section C because this is a single footing, right? So 3 feet is the depth of the footing. Next, let's move on to the deep foundation. Deep foundation we have two types: pile foundation and then caissons foundation or well foundation. So pile foundation looks like this. So these pile foundations are provided when the expected loads from the superstructure cannot be supported on shallow foundations. These kind of deep foundations can be preferred. Deep foundation distribute the load of superstructure into the ground vertically rather than laterally. This is the soil stratum, this is the piles, and this is the pile cap, and above that the structure will start. So it is mainly used in bridges or heavy structures, heavy industrial structures, or the superstructure load is more. In that case and all, we have to go for deep foundation. These piles are slender members. It is made up of RCC or steel, and it transfers the load either through end bearing or friction. It is mainly used when the soil is weak, when the heavy loads are coming from superstructure, in the presence of loose soil or black cotton soil. It is most widely used in bridge construction. The second type of deep foundation is caisson or well foundation. It is extensively used in the river and marine underwater construction. There are three types of caisson foundation. One is open caissons, second one is box caissons, third one is pneumatic caissons. This type of well foundation is used in India 100 years ago. A well-known monument, Taj Mahal, is standing on this well foundation. So friends, I hope you all like this video. Please do comment in the comment box. Your comments are always welcome, and don't forget to subscribe the channel for more videos. Thank you for watching.